The Wild West meets Star Trek today as we're a man on a mission looking for answers in the depth of space in the point-and-click adventure mystery, Warp Frontier. Hello and welcome to YakWaxLips. My name is Michael, your point-and-click adventurer, and in today's video I'm diving deep into space in Warp Frontier from Brawsome. But before I embark on this journey, if you're new here, I create purely adventure game videos and blogs, so if you love to point and click, be sure to do so over the like, hit subscribe for more, and tap the bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks very much. Warp Frontier comes from developer Brawsome, based in Australia. We play as intergalactic cop Captain Cassini, or Vince to his friends. As a member of the Rust's police department, Vince travels around and does just cop things. But we don't have time for that nonsense in an adventure game, right? So straight from the off, we're veered towards something altogether more sinister than simply ticketing someone for loitering. Our small ship is hit by a projectile, and after some quick DIY, we discover a mysterious artifact hidden inside the ship that attacked us that contains the conscience of another person. Who is this person? How is this possible? And why was our ship hit? These are one of over 900 questions the game asks, and mostly answers. To go into more detail about the plot will probably spoil parts, and I don't want to, as it's a really gripping game with twists and turns aplenty.
I found this in the safe where they were keeping you.
That's the key! I don't want it back. Too much heat on it. Be careful if you use it.
When he's not embroiled in a secret society looking for mystery locations, Vince is also a dad, trying to iron over the cracks of his failing relationships. Think of it as Neighbours crossed with Firefly, with a sprinkle of Clint Eastwood. Historically, it doesn't seem to be a million miles in the future, rather just a few hundred, as the ship, the station and equipment we use, it's all fairly rudimentary. The story is backlit by the events of a recent war that's reduced humanity significantly. It's the secrets of this war that we're initially starting to discover as corruption and horror seep out slowly.
What's the chance we'll find her, though?
Don't give up hope, Captain.
Vince is a gruff and pragmatic chap who manages to hold an intimidating amount of inventory items, and even in the face of impending doom, just takes it all in his stride. How very Australian. We're kept company by our good buddy Mac, a hovering spherical droid who's full of useful info about the world. He's a very obedient robot and can be used for all sorts of menial tasks like keeping doors open and pushing buttons that we can't reach. Pockets of friends and acquaintances emerge, but it never feels like we have somewhere to lay our hat down and call home. What is at our home is our partner Trish, who never seems pleased to see us and often shouts, whether it's face to face or down the phone. There's also a couple of kids too who we seem to have, but we never show them much attention. If anything, our spaceship that we ride solo, apart from Mac, seems to be our only safe haven. Sparks fly sometimes with a police secretary, and we're not shy to flirt with other women too, even if they've just conked us over the head with a rifle. These moments though are few and far between because Warp Frontier plays it pretty serious. There are a lot of bloody deaths to deal with, and decisions we make ultimately change the game. There are a couple of different endings, so replayability value is high. I only managed to collect about half of the 60 or so Steam achievements once I'd completed it, so I'll definitely be heading back in to see where else the story could take me. Gameplay wise, it has the style of a classic point and click, yet there are some fresh and welcome changes of note. The most obvious one is the way we interact with and look at our surroundings. In a normal point and click, we'd click on something, then the protagonist would say, "Yes, that thing is lovely," or whatever. But all we do here is hover the mouse over it, and we get to know Vince's thoughts on it in text form. If we click on it, nothing happens, as we don't need it. These hotspots are shown with a small diamond when hovered over, but the things we can click on are shown with a hand icon. These can be items we pick up, buttons we can push, or anything that Vince needs in order to complete a puzzle. You can see all the hotspots in the room simply by pressing space. What's also handy is if we hover over ourselves, Vince will tell us in text form only, what the objective is right now, which ultimately can help guide us in the right direction. If ever we can't remember what to do, there's always Mac on hand with a status update. And if that isn't enough, the hints here are some of the best I've seen. I'm not one to use hints if I can avoid it, but there's literally a hint button on screen at all times. So if we do need a gentle push, it gives us one if we click on it. The more we click on the hint button, the more obvious of a hint it gives, until finally it'll plainly spell it out for us. Vince can hold a lot of stuff in his deceptively spacious spacesuit. Already from the start we have about half a dozen items, and it only increases. You'll mostly be using your knife and the pair of glue guns you get from the start for a lot of the puzzles, but several mechanical instruments are also needed. It can get a bit over-complicated in this respect, especially when we try to use Mac in a puzzle. Just be sure to always scroll through to see exactly what you have at any one time, as more than once I found I had a few things I didn't even know I had, but that sorted me out pretty quickly. As an adventure game, its real strength is in the story, but the puzzles it poses are also top drawer. We do have to fly all over the place to discover the answers to some questions, and sometimes it's trial and error, but sometimes it's that sneaky line that someone said a while back that tips you off. It's very good at laying down threads for you to pick up later. Our ship is where we spend the majority of our time, and the front view, seen in first person, is where some decisions need to be made, from where to travel to, who to contact, what the atmosphere needs to be like inside the ship, and what type of ammunition we might need to use. It took a while to figure all this out, but once I had figured it out, it's easy to remember. I didn't, however, enjoy setting down the ship somewhere and constantly forgetting to lower the cargo bay door to walk out, only to go back into the ship, swear to myself, and then head to the cockpit to lower it. There was also one specific puzzle involving the lining up of planets that I just didn't get, and I tried it numerous times, ending up fluking it. But again, the hint button was there, and for that puzzle I went all the way to the last hint, when it then literally said, "Are you really wanting me to just give you the answer?" Which I thought was well played, and it made me persevere. So the story is engrossing and the puzzles are strong, but what about the art style? I think here is where it may divide people. The backgrounds, foregrounds and the locations in general I think are really nice. We're in space, there's space things around, it looks good, there is a sense of time. But the character design and the movement can be a little off. I didn't notice this for the design of Vince himself, but a lot of the secondary characters look like a mix of photos that had been stitched together and then animated. It was a little jarring, especially when we first meet our family. The two kids and Trish, they just look weird. Also, the walk cycle of Vince is a bit stiff and a bit slow, and sometimes it took me out of the experience a bit. The voice work is terrific from a mostly Australian voice cast. Vince has a strong, gruff voice that's laden with history, and Mac has a plain, to-the-point tone.
Police, drop your weapons.
Halt! What are you doing here?
Do you know why I like the pistol over a rifle?
There isn't too much music throughout, as the majority is soundtracked by the sounds of space, which is either low rumbles of engines, hissings of steam, or generally nothing. I mean, we're in space. On the occasion music is used, it's in scenes like from a radio rather than incidental music. There are a few small sections that build up the tension with music, and the fact it's used so sparsely is an added quality. For the most part, it's the sound design that keeps us company. One thing I should mention too is that there are about a dozen save spots, which had me sorted. I felt like I knew Vince, he seemed real. His difficult relationship, his eagerness to hope for something better than he has, and when he is thrust into a difficult situation, he takes it on the chin. He was endearing, and with not a cheeky chappy in sight, there's no jokes or silliness here, he was welcome in my company. Apart from a few cranky character models, my main gripe is that the game builds and builds to a great crescendo and then just stops. The ending rushes at you with such speed I wasn't even sure it was the end, only realising as the credits rolled. After 8 or so hours I felt like I needed more answers, or rather had the answers laid out in a way that wasn't akin to shouting everything all at once in my face. Warp Frontier dangles so many threads throughout that it can be difficult to see where we're going. But once those threads are woven together, it's an exciting mystery adventure with a complicated protagonist, one who I could travel with again. Thanks to Brawsome for the review copy of the game, and thanks to you for watching my review of Warp Frontier. Get yourself a copy from the link in my description. It's available for the PC and Switch. If you want to find out about new adventure games, be sure you're subscribed, and next have a look at these videos here. Until next time, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is you're doing right now, and take care.